Good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, and happy to be taping, although you're going to see this on Tuesday. So we're glad that you invited us into your home again, and lots of things to share today. But we will start, first of all, like we usually do. Steve will offer a prayer, and maybe we'll hear something from the voice. I'm not sure.
Thank you, Lynn. This is from Psalm 13, adapted for our situation. How long, O Lord, will you forget us forever? How long will you hide your face from us? How long must we bear fear of this virus in our soul and have anxiety in our hearts all day long? How long shall this pandemic be exalted over us? Consider and answer us, O Lord, our God. Give light to our eyes before we sleep the sleep of death. And this virus can say, I have prevailed. Don't let the pandemic rejoice because we are shaken, Lord. We trust in your steadfast love. Our hearts shall rejoice in your salvation. We will sing to the Lord because you have dealt bountifully with us. Amen. Oh, hi, voice. You joining the military or something? No, I mean, I just got a little haircut. You didn't get a little haircut. Lynn got a little haircut. That looks nice. You. Wow. How long? How many years for it to go back? I'm afraid it won't take many years. I think it'll take about a month to go back. But wanted to, get cut back, and she did a really good job. Mm-hmm. You got anything else that you need to bring to us today? I do. There's a new leader in majority rules. The group that's leading now, as you will see on the screen, is for immigrants, plus 4. We don't know why those other 4 are there, but they pulled into the lead, and so the other group has slipped back. They're going to have to really answer great questions next time to get back in the lead. Well, that's what a contest is all about, and so we're glad that there are 8 groups that are doing it. I'm sorry we didn't get more groups, but next time they won't be so lazy, they'll get that. Okay, well, I think that we're having fun with those, and we'll keep it up, and next week we will be able to pronounce the great winner who gets a basket of fruit. Wow, that's a real juicy thing. All right, I think that's enough. Okay, Lynn, you can tell them about what's happening.
Okay, thank you, Steve and Voice. Always appreciate your comments. I usually start with the number of cases, and I want you to know again, this week we have no cases of residents in Westminster communities of Florida. Something to celebrate. Our number here at Westminster Shores is still 0. We really like the number 0. But across Westminster communities of Florida, all 7,000 residents, we have no cases. Wow. That's amazing.
That's great.
We have some staff cases, but they are off work and quarantined and won't be back. Not here at the Shores, but across Westminster, and they have to have 2 negative tests to come back to work. So we are following our guidelines that were established, seems like months ago, seems like years ago, but months ago. And I just wanted to alert you to, I continue to watch the numbers in Pinellas County and the 9 surrounding counties, and the numbers are increasing. Some people might say that's because there are more people receiving tests. Well, that's true. Some people might say because of the Memorial Day weekend and an incubation period that people went out to restaurants and bars and churches and beaches, and that could be true as well. But whatever the reason, numbers are continuing to climb. That's concerning to me. We usually have a special guest, but today we had a change of plans at the very last minute, so our special guest couldn't be here. So we will have one next week as we continue to do weekly town hall meetings. I want you to welcome Delynn Ravinius. She is our new foundation staff person. She's in the office where Gail used to be, Gail Halesha. We're glad she's here for her second week now. Stop by and say hello, keep your distance, wear your mask, but stop by and say hello. We're glad to have someone back from the foundation. She will be here 5 days a week for the present time because we don't like staff going back and forth between communities and cross-contamination. So she will be here for 5 days in the office right by the corner store. So stop by and say hi. A reminder to please lock your doors. Lock your house doors, your apartments, your villas. Lock your car doors. Currently, a lot of people have been out of work for a while. Times can be very desperate for people who don't have an income. We are tucked away back here, and all I ask is that you be very, very careful about making sure all your doors are locked at all times. The doors for wherever you live and the doors for your cars as well. Okay. I hope you all got the letter from Gary Hennis in your mailbox. I put it out in your boxes on Saturday, and it just had some information about things that are happening and things that are starting up again. So please, if you haven't already looked there, look in your in-house mailboxes, also known as your cubby boxes, up here in Bahama Place, second floor, because the letter from our COO, Gary Hennis, is in there. I hope all of you are on Facebook. I hope the great majority of you are. And I hope on your Facebook you have liked Westminster Communities of Florida and Westminster Shores. And on there, on Friday, we had a collaboration of all the communities, and we had residents and staff singing "What the World Needs Now Is Love, Sweet Love." We had some great singers from here at the Shores. Representing us very well were Sally Worrell from Little Bayou and John Peterson, and also Zoe from the Health Resource Center. It was great. I ask you to go out there and like Westminster Shores and Westminster Communities of Florida and look for the video. It's really wonderful. They did a great job. COVID-19 testing. People have been asking me, when are we going to get tested? What's up with the testing? Well, we received a call this morning, Monday morning, from the Florida Department of Health. You'll receive more information in your mailbox, your cubby box, your in-house mailbox, about the COVID testing, but it will occur this Friday, starting around 10:30. We're going to try to break up by building and schedule times so residents and staff, it's to test all of our residents and staff so that we don't have everybody over here at the same time, and that indeed we get everybody tested. So look for more information coming to your boxes. I was kind of waiting for them to call, and sure enough, this morning we received the call. So that's good news. They will, like I said, be doing about 400 tests here on the campus.
Is that mostly staff?
Staff and residents.
And residents?
Absolutely. Residents of assisted living and independent living.
Okay.
So we have
some of the other communities, they just were doing staff.
Exactly. So for whatever reason, they decided to bring us 400 tests, and we have 300 residents between independent living and assisted living, and we have just over 100 staff members to test. So everybody will be tested on Friday. Still working with Pinellas County. I sent an email again last week to try to work with them on an evacuation plan to see if indeed they are going to amend their regular plans and their regular evacuation zones at all, if that will be possible. I don't have an answer yet. It's the best thing to do would be to continue to plan. Go far away, go as far away as you can. And for those people who don't have cars or anything, Eva, who works with me, put together this Surviving the Storm packet. It has information on an evacuation kit, what you should take, as well as a document checklist, kind of documents that you should either take along with you or put in a very safe place, what to do with your pets, as well as what the evacuation zones and shelters are within Pinellas County. And then finally, on the last page, she put together a list of shelters, special needs shelters, and a list of 5 different hotels that are in non-evacuation zones, and their phone numbers and where they're located. So if you need this information, Eva put this packet together, and we're gonna ask her to put it out by the cubby boxes or your in-house mailboxes. So a lot of great information here. And if you don't find one out there, maybe lots of people have taken them. So just ask Eva and she'll make some more copies.
That's great.
Next week, which is the week of the 15th through the 19th, or the 16th if you include Sunday, to the 20th, which would be Saturday, we will be starting up small groups again. Small groups meaning 9 people or less, because it's really 10 or less, but in that 10 we have to include the instructor or the leader of that group. So small groups starting next week, Monday the 15th through Friday the 19th or Saturday the 20th. Those groups will be small groups, 9 people or less. We're going to try larger groups starting the following week, which would be the 21st, Sunday, through the 27th, Saturday. Those are up to 50 people outside, not inside, outside. 25 or less in the gallery, maintaining social distancing, and 8 people or less in the parkside rooms. Again, all of those will include you wearing masks, keeping your social distance of a minimum of 6 feet. Your temperature will be taken before you go and start the activity, and indeed you'll be expected to sanitize your hands before the activity as well as after the activity. I'm a little nervous about it because we want to keep our numbers at 0, and I know people are milling around. We still can have no visitors on our campus. Let me repeat, no visitors on our campus. And our residents have pretty much contained themselves here. So small groups will start next week, larger groups the following week. One of the larger groups that we will start will be the Tuesday afternoon 2 o'clock prayer at the pergola. We had probably 30 or 40 people before we closed down any large groups. So we'll start that on Tuesday the 24th, I believe it might be. Tuesday the 23rd at 2 o'clock. We'll meet at the pergola with our masks on and everyone socially distant at least 6 feet apart. So we're gonna try those things, see how they go. We thought we'd try the small groups next week and make sure that our numbers don't climb as far as COVID or even start, because we have no numbers to climb. And then if it all goes well with small groups, we'll start the larger groups. But again, the way we figured out our gallery and these smaller rooms, the 2 parkside rooms, really with practicing good social distancing, we can only have about 8 people in each of these rooms. Likewise, we'll be starting up fitness groups. Some have started today, Monday, which tomorrow will be Tuesday when you see this. We had Bodies in Motion outside. There was a 9:30 and a 10:15 class. And that it's held between the garages of Bahama Place and Little Bayou, getting a beautiful breeze coming off of the water, Little Bayou, and It's a great place. It was shady, looked very nice. Wanted to jump in there myself. But those will be held outside. Bodies in Motion, Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 class of 9 or less, and a 10:15 class of 9 or less. The walking group has started Wednesday mornings at 8:15, and you meet up in front of the Bahama Place building, and that will happen, I'm sorry, I said Wednesday, I meant to say Tuesdays and Thursdays. Pool exercises will begin within the next 2 weeks. We're trying to work on that as well, to figure that how and when and where. Well, we know which pool, we have to figure out how and when. Likewise, the fitness room will probably be open in the next 2 weeks. That will be by reservation only. It will be at a time when someone can be there to monitor. We will only have maybe 2, maybe 3 people in the room at a time, maximum. You will have to have your temperature taken before. You'll have to practice the social distancing. You'll have to sanitize your hands, as well as sanitize the equipment before and sanitize the equipment after, so that we make sure that it's clean for the very next person. So keep looking out for those things. They indeed will happen. Fitness room probably the next 2 weeks. Outdoor aquatic exercise in the pool within the next 2 weeks. Walking group has started, Bodies in Motion has started outside, and Leah's working on other groups as well. Also look out for pickleball and bocce. I've raised that question again. Those should be starting within the next week or 2. I'll have more specifics for you when we put information in your boxes. So I know those bocce players and pickleball players have been anxious to get out there. So hopefully you can start using that as your exercise again soon. Lots of things opening, and this week we will be opening on Wednesday. So when you're watching this tomorrow, Tuesday, that'll be the next day, Wednesday, June 10th, we will be opening the dining rooms. We will have 3 tables in each of our 4 dining rooms. You all know that there's H for the heron on the wall, O for the osprey, P and E, the 4 dining rooms, spell out hope, and they're all for the birds that are on the walls in those dining rooms. Each of those dining rooms will only have 3 tables. We will have a maximum of 44 residents, because we can only have, according to the governor, and Westminster standards, 50 people or less, but those 50 people must also include the servers and the dining managers. So really we're going to try for 44 residents and 6 staff members to be in those dining rooms. There will be 2 seatings at lunch. The first one will be at 11:30 to 12:30. And I must emphasize that they will only be limited to 60 minutes, because then we have to sanitize that dining room and turn it around in 15 minutes so that we can start the second seating from 12:45 to 1:45. That will also be the same way at your dinner time. Dinner time, the first seating will be at 4:30 to 5:30, again, only 60 minutes. 15 minutes to sanitize the dining room and turn it around, and then it will be from 5:45 to 6:45. Again, only 44 people. It will be by reservation only. And I have to check my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. You can reserve only for 1 or 2 days. You can't say, I'd like to be at the 4:30 dinner group from now until forever. That won't work. You can reserve for 1 or 2 days at a time, and you must call the day before. And when you can register, or reserve rather, would be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10, because that's when we have Rosie here on staff. So Rosie will be taking those reservations for lunch or for dinner at least the day before, and you will call Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning.
And where do they call?
Oh, I'm sorry, good. I was right, my next line to
Oh,
read.
sorry.
That's all right. You will call the crossroads. So that's where Rosie will be. Likewise, you must call the day before if you would like to pick up your meal, or if you would like your meal delivered. We will continue to deliver meals. You must call between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock on for your lunch or your dinner the day before to pick up or deliver your meal. So again, we will try to spell that out for you in information. We will put in your mailboxes by midweek this week. Please know that there are going to be bumps along the way, not only in dining, but in activities as well as fitness. We're trying something very new. We've never had a pandemic before. We've never had to shut things down and try to reopen them. So there will be some bumps, and we ask your patience and your kindness as we go through all of this together. Also for dining, you'll be getting a letter from our Vice President of Resident Experience and Dining, Mario DeLuca. So his letter will probably be in your mailbox by the time you see this on channel 732. So look for his letter as well. Something very sad to announce, and that is our beloved Bettina is retiring. I'm happy for her and so sad for us. Bettina has done a phenomenal job for us here at the Shores in conjunction with Ecker College and St. Pete College and USFSP. But she's decided it's time to retire, and we're happy for her. Her last day here will be July 1st. Going to miss her greatly. Her expertise, her kindness, her knowledge, her sweet, wonderful way will be greatly missed. So we'll be preparing for her departure. In the meantime, I can also announce that Andrew or Andy Southgate, who is the resident lifestyle facilitator at the Palms, will be taking her place. And Andy's very excited. He will be over lifelong learning at all 3 St. Pete communities. So he will be at the Palms, at the Shores, and at Suncoast, and trying to coordinate programs for all of us and be the representative for Westminster St. Pete at the local colleges. So look forward to Andy. He will be training with Bettina. I believe indeed they're starting today, Monday. So Bettina is going to give him her very best. So we will miss Bettina, but we will anxiously await Andy's arrival here, and we truly wish the best for both of them. I want to say thanks for your fun that you've had in the groups. I've heard about them and people as I pass. I've even heard that you were talking about the snow removal on my roof. You can see the snow is gone. And that was fun that was included in one of the pieces that you went through this last week. I also have to say thank you so much for the funnies. Our days can be very, very, very serious here. And I can giggle when I receive funnies from lots of residents. I can't believe all the number of residents that send me funnies. And I thank you so much. And I try to share them with our team, and hopefully they're sharing them with their teams, because it's good to giggle and it's good to have a belly laugh during all these serious times. And I'm glad that you indeed are having fun in your groups as well. Also, I put up a Sunrise Point update. It's hanging in the crossroads. It will also be on MyW Life and will be sent out to the Sunrise Point depositors. We are now approaching our 3rd level out there. Those of you who've walked by or looked out your windows, if you're lucky enough to be able to oversee that interesting construction. And we still will be having nighttime pours. I missed one. I usually try to do a call them all, And in the number of emails I get every day, I evidently missed the one for last week, and I do apologize for that. I try to catch them and know that we will have 3 to 4 every month until we get into the fall. But they're excited. They feel like they're moving along very well. It's described in detail, so stop in the crossroads and read it. Look for it on My W Life. Great pictures and great information. On a very, very serious note, kind of mentioned this earlier, but Pinellas County and Westminster Shores, and we're opening things, makes me a little hesitant. I pause and pray that things will remain at 0 and you will all remain healthy. Our testing will certainly show how healthy we are when we have that on Friday. But I have to remind you to wash your hands, please. Wear your masks. Get your temperature taken when you're here. Be socially distant. And be vigilant. This is something to be vigilant and taken very, very, very seriously because we want each other to be healthy. Please don't ease up. Please remind each other when you see someone getting a little closer, just step back. If they don't have their mask on, please remind them to go home and get their mask. Hang your mask on your doorknob when you're going out, the door that takes you outside, so that you have your mask with you at all times. I've been hearing about other communities, not Westminster communities, thank God, but other communities that have had up to 50% of their residents with the COVID virus. That's a horrible number. So I ask you to be very careful. 0 is very important to all of us, and we want to maintain that. Please, please, please be very careful. And the questions that I only have 2 today. One is just reminding me not to forget the Sunrise Point address issue, because I know there were issues with Bay Breeze, and that we should have signs on the different floors for locations of residents' apartments and things. And that, are there rules about hanging things, rugs, carpets, towels, etc., over the balcony railings? And really, we don't encourage that. We would like to see our balconies free of all those kind of things. So please don't be hanging anything out there. And they also said thanks for keeping us safe. Also, since a Westminster community allowed Vice President Pence and Governor DeSantis to use us for a political photo op, will there be extending the same opportunity for Joe Biden? And if not, why not? And we try to be apolitical, but if a sitting president, vice president, governor comes to one of our communities in a goodwill gesture as part of their job, they already have the job. That indeed was what the Vice President Pence's opportunity was. Yes, it was a photo op. Yes, it is an election year, but he was doing his job in delivering personal protective equipment, PPE, to Westminster, Winter Park, and Baldwin Park. So it wasn't like we invited him to come and stomp for votes, and then we would equally invite Joe Biden to come and stomp for votes. It was a political, an apolitical, even though it was political, photo opportunity of a sitting vice president delivering personal protective equipment to our communities. So that's the difference. We cannot ask political people that are running for office to come here and ask for votes. That's a very different situation. So that was the other question. And I don't know if Steve has anything, or the voice?
I do.
Okay.
Well, I just want to mention a couple of things. I'm certain I would have liked to have had more people in the majority rules, but I understand, and it's beginning, and you got a couple of groups vied for a position, and maybe by next week we'll have even another one. But it's working on building a sense of connectedness even while we are separated.
and building a sense of awareness of each other and their needs. And that is very important. If this continues on for a while, it's going to be harder and harder for people who are separated. And some people are very shy, and some people are reluctant to ask. I know several people who saw some of the questions and said, well, they're silly questions. And they were silly, because at this point we want to just have people have a few laughs and interact. But it's a beginning of helping our community interact, building on the excellent work that Ashley and Bettina and Mark are doing, and the types of openings that we're planning. But those also are filled with challenges. And you heard Lynn talk about it. Be sensitive to the fact that they're working hard, both in Orlando, but particularly as we are aware here, in trying to make your life livable. And one of the things we're going to try, and I know some of you are averse to trying Zoom meetings, but we need to develop a comfort with that, so that if this goes on for a year or so, we know how to bring this community together and interact with each other. And we have had some meetings. There's also the possibility with Zoom that you can have small groups within the whole thing interact with each other and then come back into the whole group. And we're going to try that beginning, this is shown on Tuesday, I guess, so we're going to try it on Wednesday, beginning at 11 o'clock. I'm going to lead a Bible study, faith studies group about how our faith can help us deal with the anxiety and the stress of this pandemic. And I come from it from a Christian viewpoint. But to use the old cliche, some of my best friends are atheists and agnostics and Jews and Muslims and so on, and they get along too, and I think we could all gain from interacting with each other. And in fact, if you are part of a group that is diverse, that'll even add more to the possibility. But what we're going to do is look at a faith response to anxiety and stress in the pandemic. And we're going to use Zoom so that hopefully, I hope there'll be a lot of you that will take advantage of that. And we are going to invite the Palms and Suncoast to also participate. So you'll get to know all three communities a little bit in terms of the people. And we will go along, and then there'll be a point at which you'll break into small groups, and then you'll come back together, and we'll get more comfortable as we move through this. And if you are uncomfortable with Zoom or don't know how to do it, this is an excellent time to invite one or two people to join you to do it together. In fact, it'd be a good idea anyway. Yes, you should be cautious, and you should wear your mask, and you should keep your distance, but you can do that in an apartment and have somebody who knows how to use Zoom help you through it, and then you'll learn and grow more comfortable with it as well. What we're trying to do is build a virtual community. And yeah, I'd love to just go around and, well, I'm not so big on hugging, but be hugged. I like people to hug me, But we'll get to there at some point. But if we can't get there yet, we can still interact and care for each other and be interested in each other and participate in making this the type of community that we all came to expect as we came here. So, Wednesday at 11 o'clock is the first of 5 meetings. And Bettina, she'll be here. Somehow, or Ashley is going to get them the link, right, Ashley? I'm looking at her across the way here. But the link will be provided for you, and then you'll go on Zoom. And it's also listed in what's happening, so you can read about it there. But it's going to be faith's response to the pandemic. Faith's response to the anxiety that's created by this. And there'll probably be glitches, and there'll probably be different things that'll happen that we'll have to stumble through. But I think we'll also examine some possibilities that our own faith stance, even the diverse stance, can provide some pillars of faith that we can rely on as this world seems to go out of control. Because we don't have to go out of control, and that's what's important. So, I invite you to consider it and participate, and yes, give me feedback and so on as we go along. But remember, The big thing is, have we made a beginning to get more comfortable with the technology so that we can use it no matter what happens in the future? So thank you for participating. And remember, the 4 immigrants plus 4 are now in the lead, having gotten ahead of what was the other group?
Geezers.
Geezers. But there's plenty of time yet. By next week, maybe the other group will come by, and then somebody's going to get a basket of fruit. Thank you for being part of this community, participating and being cautious and being aware. We care for each other, and we need to demonstrate that in all the ways we can.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you, all of you who are joining up for things like this. It's fun. I love seeing them. One other thing I forgot to mention, and it was a piece of good news. On one of my calls, my Zoom meetings that I'm on every week with the Orlando folks and all the vice presidents and all the community leaders across all of Westminster. We also have a group called Westminster Pharmacy. Some of you choose to go through Westminster Pharmacy. Westminster Pharmacy is always on that call as well, sharing news. And one of the good pieces of news that he shared was that there are 2 pharmaceutical groups that have joined together that are working towards 400 million doses of a vaccine by the end of the year.
Wow.
For this virus. So that was great news. 400 million doses. So that's a wonderful thing that we can look forward to. And as I hear more about that, I will continue to update you on that.
And didn't they make a contribution towards buying PPE stuff or something?
Yes, they did. Yes,
so
they
they're working for us.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's important.
Yes, and they also purchased all the green boxes.
Oh, the
green
meal
box
boxes.
program,
Yeah.
right. So that was our pharmacy that did that for us. So thank you. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week.